I'm Nick Clinton, and I'm a sport management major.
I'm Chandler Pozowinski, and I'm an accounting major.
I'm Anna Giglio, and I'm an undeclared business major.
I'm Angelique Cosme, and I'm a strategic communications major.
I'm Luke Bowser, and I'm a finance major.
And we are
Team Clinton.
So we thought the best way for us to do our final project was to answer the question of why even do this project in the first place? Why assign 5 college students the task of preparing a meal at the warming house? What value does that bring to us as students?
And to be honest, we didn't know the answer to that question when we started this project.
However, as you'll see, once we started working on this project, that definitely changed.
So I wanted to be a team leader, and first of all, it was because of my sport. I'm a team captain here at St. Bonaventure University at the men's lacrosse team. The leadership role that I take is very natural for me, and I just kind of step into the role. It was easy, and I wanted to take charge and kind of step into a different boundary that I wasn't used to. So the responsibilities I had was I was going to guide and voice for the team. The communication role was another part that I had to kind of jump into and talk to every team member and get their inputs. With that, I kind of had to relate back to a work team, also known as our small groups, Team Clinton to be exact. I didn't expect that I was going to have to be in charge of a full team and not have any guidance from our professor. With that, I kind of just had to improvise and just kind of do my own thing. With that, it was easy, and I got to kind of take control and actually do more than I actually wanted to. Specific obstacles that I overcame as a team leader is we had to make decisions on the fly. When we got to the warming house, we didn't actually have all the things we needed. So we had to change our recipe, and we had to figure things out right then and there. By putting in time and effort outside of just the normal class time, it made it so that our team worked smoothly and efficiently. One thing that was different from me being a captain of the lacrosse team of 35 male freshmen and a group of 5 of us was that being in this group, I was only in charge of 5, and it was easier for me to put my time and effort into 5 people instead of 35 guys that really need a lot of help and need some guidance. So it was a lot easier for me to put time and effort and actually make this group work efficiently and well-rounded. By being a team leader in this project, I figured out that I can apply it to my major by sacrificing a little bit of extra time as the team leader, made it well worth the time. Same thing in the coaching world. If I put a little bit more time and effort into coaching, it's going to be well worth it in the end. Communication is another huge key factor that I need to know, along with coaching and the business side and just even in normal aspects of the world.
One planning aspect that played a huge role in this project was actually assigning each person's role. This was key because knowing each person's strengths and weaknesses is vital in making sure our team is performing the best that we possibly can. It also helped us complete more tasks in a shorter amount of time because different people could focus on different parts of the project. As a finance major, team planning will be especially important because in the finance world, anything can happen at any moment. So having a strong team with members that can do their specific duties can help combat some of the craziness of the finance world. So speaking of our specific teams, the site team, which include Clinton and I, we had the job of going to the warming house a couple of days before the actual cook day to see what type of ingredients they had and figure out what we were going to make. We also had to make sure that we stayed in contact with the people at the warming house to see what meals were made in the days coming up to our cook day and make sure that we didn't make the same meals as days before.
For the recipe team, which included team members Anna and Ange, the S in SMART goals, which stands for specific, applied really well. Being specific means that you have to have very specific goals that you want to accomplish instead of just having a generalized idea of the things you want to do. The recipe team had to be very specific about what they were going to make instead of just having a general idea. Rather than saying we want to make chicken, the recipe team planned out exactly what type of chicken we were going to make and exactly the ingredients that were needed. This prevented us from running around the warming house like chickens with our heads cut off because we didn't know what we needed. Because of the recipe team's great planning, we knew exactly what we needed to make our meal, which saved us a lot of time and made things go very smoothly in the end. So talking again about planning the project as a whole, it was a little bit difficult because of all of our crazy schedules. To combat this problem, we utilized a few different tools such as Trello and Google Docs. Trello made it very easy for us to keep all of our documents in a centralized location, and we had a pretty good way of being able to communicate. However, as a little side note, we thought it would be a great idea if Trello had a designated messenger system. The messenger system would keep the intergroup communication separate from all the other valuable information on the cards and would overall help with the organization of our team. We also utilized Google Docs so we could still collaborate as a team while at the same time working around our busy schedules. As a future accountant, team organization will be especially important because one lost document could cause the SEC to come knocking on your door.
Controlling is monitoring progress towards goal achievement and taking corrective action when needed. What we did well during the warming house. We worked really well as a team, communicated with each other really well. We already knew our jobs going into it, but when we got there, we wanted to make sure everyone knew what they were doing and did the task at hand. We followed the recipes as best as we could. The warming house didn't have every single ingredient we needed, but we improvised very efficiently. We didn't know how many people were going to show up, so we made a lot of food, enough to serve at least 20 people. And it ended up working out really well because only 11 people showed up, and our team and the staff members as well got to eat a full meal. One thing that we could have done better is have a better backup plan in case things went wrong. About 30 minutes before the dinner was supposed to be served, we realized that the chicken wasn't going to be cooked in time. This caused a little bit of panic. However, once we stepped back and looked at all our options, we created a new plan of attack that would help us serve the meal with time to spare. So at first we put all the chicken in the oven, but it wasn't cooking fast enough. So we decided to fry the chicken in smaller portions so it would be prepared by the time we were supposed to serve the meal. Being able to learn controlling during this project has been a really good life skill to learn. I have no idea what I'm doing for my career yet, but being able to assess and analyze what we did as a team and learn what to do better the next time is a skill you can use in many life aspects. Just because we're analyzing what we did as a group doesn't mean a person can't use controlling for themselves. You can use the skill with studying for tests, future job assignments, and many more.
St. Bonaventure University School of Business has 6 Franciscan values listed on the wall above the grand staircase in Swan, which as business majors we are supposed to apply to our future jobs as ethical business people. These values of contemplation, joy, love, respect, peace, and compassionate service are meant to come together and bring us into the business world with good heads on our shoulders. From my team's experience with working at the warming house, it was easy to see how prevalent and applicable these values were. Of these 6 values, the ones that really stood out during our trip to the warming house were compassionate service, respect, and joy. SBU defines compassionate service as to volunteer, to help, to seek opportunities to be of assistance to others, to give our time with a sense of humility, and a desire to make the world a better place, to see education as a means of being able to serve our fellow human beings. The warming house also shares this sentiment in their mission statement, proclaiming that volunteers and students endeavor to create an environment to provide for the emotional, spiritual, and social needs of their guests. Basically, we are not only going to the warming house to serve, but to bring kindness, care to the table, along with a nice, warm, freshly prepared meal. It might feel easier or less nerve-wracking to simply make the meal and hide in the kitchen, but even the simple gesture of sitting with those you've made the meal for can help provide for their higher level needs by fostering an open and supportive environment. The last value to mention is joy, which is to believe that the God who made the world is a good God, that the world and the people in it are good, and that whatever difficulties we face, it's all going to work out for the best, to look at life through a positive lens. The warming house considers itself a place of welcome, and through this they try to break down the stigma of sadness that can surround a soup kitchen. While it may seem sad or make one feel bad for those who come to the warming house because this may be the only meal they get each day, we need to realize and help others realize that the warming house is a joyous gift to those who partake in their meals there because it shows that there are good people and places in the world that do care about their well-being as individuals. The values seen here are very much applicable outside of both school and the soup kitchen. I could see myself in the future using these values in any job that I wish to take. Being undeclared business, someone might see me as indecisive because of it and might respect me less for it. But I know that a label doesn't define who I am. So why should we let a label of poor or however someone might label someone else in less fortunate circumstances define how we treat others? We shouldn't. And that's what these values help us see.
So, let's bring it all back. Why put 5 students in charge of planning a meal at the Warming House?
I think it's because I learned valuable leadership skills in the coaching aspect.
I think it's because I learned great planning skills that will be especially important in my accounting career.
I think it's because I learned the importance of applying Franciscan values to not only our daily lives, but in the business world as well.
I learned how to analyze mistakes that we made as a team and learn from them so we don't repeat them.
I learned the importance of organization, which in the crazy finance world is especially important.
So, as you can see, while we all learned great management skills during our time at the Warming House, each of us took away a personalized message that we can take into our future careers and apply in our everyday lives.